All right. Let's see. October pending home sales fall unexpectedly as high prices take their toll on buyers. So that's right. Pending home sales in October fell 1.1% month to month.
Oh man.
Yeah. I'm hearing a little echo, by the way.
Hmm.
But they were still 20.2% higher compared with October last year. So that's clearly why the headline touts that high prices are taking a toll on buyers, alluding to the slowdown of the real estate market compared to all previous years, when in actuality, that just wasn't the case. So let's get into the meat of it. Lawrence Yoon did a good job representing us. He said the housing market is still hot, but we may be starting to see rising home prices hurting affordability. If you've been I don't know, I can't remember if it was the pending home sales, but we have seen a decline week over week over week, and then we had an increase, and it may have been the pending home sales or just straight home sales. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But this kind of falls in line with that about the fall and maybe trending downward because of the fall. And then when you look at the year over year numbers, it's still 20.2% higher. So when your client says, well, this COVID's got to be doing some crazy stuff to the housing market, I saw where October we fell 1.1% in pending home sales. You can say, well, yeah, but you're still 20.2% higher than you were the previous year.
Right.
So that let's see, mortgage rates were still hovering historic lows, but supply was down to nearly 2.7 months, which is 20% lower annually, which is also contributing to the increasing prices, which we'll talk about in a little bit, and making it more difficult for buyers to find a home.
So I ran my numbers and again, if you've never watched the show, I just run Rancho because we have an everything market. You
got to say the whole name. Say the whole name.
Rancho Cucamonga, California.
Cucamonga.
Yeah. We have $300,000 houses all the way up to $3 million houses. So I just kind of run everything single family, and we are at right now. If I went back to, I did the whole year until November 30th, and kind of broke it down, and then by days, and essentially over the year we're selling 4.1 houses a day. So then when you do the math, you get to 114 a month. Right now, we have 116 active listings.
So you have a half day supply.
A month plus 1/2 day supply.
Is it a month plus 1/2? Yeah. A month plus 1/2 day supply.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So the national average, by the way, that national average down to 2.7, that's crazy low for national. That means all those slower selling markets like our, Little Rock formerly they're now sped way up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then I do have more numbers for a story we're doing later that I'm going to break down because they're super telling. It's really, really crazy. So if you don't, by the way, just run your numbers. Just look back, month to month, see what you're doing, and then just be well knowledge about the market. So because buyers are going to ask, or even if they don't ask, you can throw a stat at them. They'll be like, dude, this person knows their stuff.
That's exactly what they
awesome. I'm talking to an expert. I don't know where that voice comes from.
I like it. Dusty Martin says, good morning, my favorite bearded men. Good morning. I would have to say, that's so funny because it's totally noon here. I was like, why is she saying good morning? But she's in AZ, right?
Yeah. So, and they don't care about time changes. They're like, dude, this is our time year round. Time. We're out.
Everyone changes it around them.
Yep.
So it seems like if supply was higher, then sales would be higher because there's still more buyers looking to buy, just not enough supply. That is pushing prices up, which we'll get to in a little bit. And I wonder what's the limit there. Everyone says we're approaching the limit. We haven't seen the limit yet. I have to say this. We were going to do a news story today about malls and how they're predicting now within 5 years, you'll lose 25% of the malls that you currently have. And then I started looking and that's the same headline from early 2010s. And then they put it again in 2017. And then they did it again in 2019. So I know malls have been hurt specifically because of COVID. So I'm looking for updated data on that. So whenever you see the mall headline, it was on CNBC the other day, find the data. We're looking at the data that shows exactly how much, because I think just in this year, we may have lost 25% of the stores inside of malls. So we're looking at that in the failing department stores. I just didn't have all the data to feel comfortable giving you that story when I researched the headline, and it's the same exact headline for 10 years. So
right.
Side note on headlines.
Yeah. And I mean,
Earlier.
with the resurgence of the 80s, and
Mhm.
malls were a huge thing in the 80s. That's the main thing I did when I was 12 to 16 years old. We went to the mall to go hang out.
You're a
That's what
mall
we did.
rat.
Literally a mall rat. The movie was written about me and my friends. Just kidding. So I think the business is there. And by the way, they're still kind of open. You just have to take numbers and go in lines, and it's
Mhm.
way, way different. You can't just go hang out. But I don't know. I'm hoping that the second these things can open back up again, because I love a good mall, and like the season 3 of Stranger Things had a lot of mall scenes. So
No
I'm hoping
spoilers.
that,
No spoilers. I haven't watched that one yet.
well, it's set in a mall. I mean,
Okay.
not only, but there's some scenes that happen in a mall. Sorry, spoiler alert. But so I'm really hoping that it just gets spent there, because I have like an attachment, like a deep seated attachment to malls. So whenever I see just an old school 50s, 60s built mall, man, I get excited. So hopefully they're still there.